So Trump is going to announce, I'm assuming tonight, that the Rose Garden, it's been turned into a Dunes casino, like from Vegas style attraction. And the Michelle Obama portrait has been corrected to show an appropriate pants crease. Folks, let's talk about our first story. The State of the Union is occurring. It's happening tonight, and I'm excited to cover it. So let's hop into our first story. Boom. President Trump, it's his own movie, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be lining up to see a movie all about him tonight. President Trump is set to take the stage for the United States Capitol tonight, at the United States Capitol, for his 2026 Union Address. Folks, if I were president, I must be honest with you, I would drop the State of the Union Address because, admittedly, it has the energy of why are we all here? Couldn't this have been something that you sat at your desk up in the office for? Like, this is something that we used to sit around the TVs with TV dinners, sit with your family, kids gather around. The president is going to address us, but now you force everybody from Congress to show up. It's still the same for everybody at home, but what I'm saying is everybody in Congress hates you as a result of this. So this is a great way to lower your popularity. The president, he's expected to lean heavily into the booming America theme, touting the surge in domestic manufacturing. The stock market has recently crossed a 50,000 point milestone, as pointed out very well by Pam Bondi. She said, "The Dow, it's historic." However, the address is coming amid a lot of scrutiny. In case you don't know, they've had a little bit of trouble with the Supreme Court ruling. They struck down his signature global tariff policy. It's a decision the president has already vowed to maneuver around to protect his America First economic agenda beyond the economy. The specter of military conflict and internal division looms large over the House chamber. Trump is expected to address the massive military buildup in the Middle East, where 2 aircraft carriers are currently positioned for a potential strike against Iran. Domestically, his immigration crackdown remains a flashpoint, where he's going to champion his administration's mass deportation efforts, where admittedly they have deported very few people. They've just been cruel about it. And he's facing a deeply polarized audience following a recent high-profile violence during enforcement actions, as we've covered for a while in Minnesota with Renee Good and Alex Preddy, 2 little hooligans who really shouldn't have stirred themselves up into the action that they got into. Did they deserve to die? Probably not, but they were fucking morons, and anybody who disagrees with that take, you're not honest. The atmosphere inside the room, it's going to be notably tense. Dozens of Democrats have announced they're going to boycott a section of the speech, opting instead for the People's State of the Union rally on the National Mall. What? This is like when TPUSA hosted their own fucking, knock it off, guys. Enough. We're doing one because that's what we do. Anyways, ABC 7 Chicago, tell me a bit.
Just hours away from President Trump delivering his State of the Union address.
Eyewitness News reporter Tim Caputo here with details on what the president is expected to focus on. Tim.
Rachel, John, the economy top of mind for just about every American, and that includes President Trump, who is expected to tout what he calls economic strength, despite a major Supreme Court loss on the tariffs, a market tumbling, and a high disapproval rating specifically on the economy. Now, the president's first State of the Union of his second term will focus on what the Trump administration sees as a booming economy, with a rise in U.S. manufacturing and new jobs, despite many Americans just not feeling that way. Trump also
definitely not
addressed the Supreme Court ruling against his signature tariff policies, but foreign policy may also take center stage, with 2 U.S. aircraft carriers dispatched to the Middle East, as President Trump has said he is considering a limited strike on Iran. This speech will be an attempt to convince an increasingly wary Americans that the U.S. is on the right path. A new ABC News Washington Post poll shows 62% disapprove of the president's handling of U.S. relations with other countries, and 57%
Yikes.
unhappy with how he's handling the economy.
57.
The president sees it differently.
We have a country that's now doing well. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. We have the
Greatest
most
economy.
activity we've ever had. I'm making a speech tomorrow night, and you'll be hearing me say that. I mean, it's going to be a long speech because we have so much to talk about.
There are some Democrats, including from California, who plan to boycott the State of the Union this evening, and others even plan.
What does this accomplish, guys? I'm so sick of people doing the thing where it's like, we're gonna do our own little thing. TPUSA, and they claim they were like, we got 6 million viewers. It's like 6 million. That's not the first 6 million that I've heard in question, but admittedly, goddamn, the numbers they reported was ridiculous. They were like, we cracked the top 10 biggest live performers performances of all time on the platform. And then you look at the actual view count, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. These people are trying to do their own State of the People's Union at the National Mall. What are we doing, guys? They're going to go, I'm guessing, heavy on the Epstein stuff. They're going to go like, yeah, he's not addressing it. He's never going to. So that's just like a fantasy. Don't ever expect, by the way, and I know that people are going to get mad at me for this take. I want people to just get honest. Trump is never going to really try to focus on this again. He, in his mind, after they passed the Transparency Act, he went, we're the most transparent administration in history. You heard it from Pam Bondi. We are done with this. We're leaving it in the past. So it is going to have to be another administration or another couple of years in the future where anything actually happens, you know, where people start getting pulled into courts, people start actually, you know, going down for shit. I'm just telling you that the Clintons aren't going to jail. Trump's not going to jail. These fantasies where people go QAnon, it's happening. The storm is coming. We're all gonna see these people thrown into jail. You will die before you see these people held to account, and they will too.
Events at the same time in Washington. The official Democratic response will come from Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger, the first woman to serve as governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
For fun. I mean, for fun.
U.S. President Donald Trump is set to give his first formal State of the Union speech of his second term on Tuesday, and it's likely to be a long night of choreographed tension and conflict. Trump's speech comes just days after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned his signature global tariffs. Trump has sharply criticized the 6 justices who voted to strike them down, including 2 he appointed and Chief Justice John Roberts.
Oof, got him.
Ruled against this the policy, striking it down. Are they still invited to your State of the Union next week? And will you still speak?
They are invited, barely.
Barely.
Andrew Smith, a political science professor at the University of New Hampshire, says the Supreme Court's fresh decision is likely to heighten the suspense during Trump's State of the Union address.
My sense is, given the Supreme Court decision on tariffs, that he will be coming out swinging against Democrats.
Swinging.
I think there'll probably be more attacks in this State of the Union than typically is the case.
Trump's speech also comes amid a sagging approval rating on his handling of the economy, with November's midterm elections in focus. Meanwhile, Democrats, who need to flip just 3 Republican-held seats in the House of Representatives to win a majority, have blamed Trump's tariffs for exacerbating the rising cost of living.
But it's probably more critical for the president to do a good job in the State of the Union address, because in midterm elections, the president's party almost always loses seats. And the House of Representatives is razor thin already. The Republicans lose 5-10 seats, which is well in range. They could even lose 20 seats this year.
Nice.
That means that President Trump's last 2 years in office are really going to be hamstrung by congressional resistance that he hasn't faced these first 2 years.
In recent years, defining moments of presidential speeches have often been confrontational, as in 2009 when Republican Joe Wilson heckled former President Barack Obama.
The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally. It's not true.
You lie!
This year, Democrats may use the stage to protest, as former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi did when she ripped up her copy of Trump's speech in 2020.
I would not be surprised to see kind of on-the-floor demonstrations by Democratic members of Congress.
Yeah, there's going to be flags, there's going to be signs. Then, by the way, guys, when I win the presidency shortly, it'll be 2028 that we can have the election, 2029 when I assume office, and that'll probably be, well, actually it'll be 2030 when my first State of the Union is. And I've drafted up my State of the Union address that I will be giving the peoples. This is predictive in the future, guys. This is crazy. If you're ready, this is actually the State of the Union, if we were honest. This is us if we want to go ahead and we want to drop all the bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen, this is actually my campaign for president in the form of our current addressing of the State of the Union. Good evening, everyone. If I were smart, I would go home. And if you were smart, you would turn off your television. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, sorry, mine wouldn't be a madam. It just wouldn't be, I'm sorry. Members of Congress, my fellow Americans, we are ramping up, and America is back and better than ever. After repealing the 14th Amendment, we finally re-enslaved most of the population. Y'all wanted equality? You got it. Ladies and gentlemen, me and all my politician buddies can now buy all of you paupers equally. We're done with the smoke and mirrors. There is birth control in your water to lower the fertility rate. We're sowing drugs into black and brown communities in the inner city. But we didn't put a gun to their head and make them take it. It's just like the white people who live out in the mountainous regions. It's their natural inability to control their wants, and we prey on that. We're addicting your children to music that'll have your son calling himself at 9 a certified gigolo. Your daughter is a whore, sorry to break it to you, but she's had more men in her than the Baghdad House of Wisdom has. She's emotionally and financially reliant on a man who's parasocially obsessed with her on OnlyFans. Just slime out your whole family, straight up. Next road trip that you guys have, drive that Chevy Equinox off a goddamn cliff. Maybe in the fraction of time when they realize what you're doing before the ground meets their skulls, your family will finally find it in their hearts to respect you, or at the very least fear you and the decisions that you've made. Folks, we aren't bringing the cost of healthcare down. We're not in charge of that, dummies. Hospitals set the prices that insurers pay. Burn down your local clinic if you're so mad. Yes, Fauci and Bill Gates, they're trying to kill you with mRNA and vaccines. They've given young men heart attacks and myocarditis. So what? You guys really gonna go get unvaxxed now? Too late. We've already planted the proteins with the first COVID booster to create plaque in your brains and give you Alzheimer's, and the studies out there to prove it. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe in a future of honesty, transparency, and truth. That's why we're dismantling the entire system of government, and we're recessing back to our old primitive ways of traditional nation states, cities surrounded by walls, and some very terrifying forms of techno-feudalism. Guys, where do you as the individual fit into this picture, you're probably thinking? With tech pioneered in Japan, of all places, we're going to be transforming your footsteps into electricity to power the AI data centers that will play your girlfriends. You will come home and you will just see this big mainframe with a screen and a speaker and a hole, and you're just gonna get the base conversation with this Alexa style device, and then whenever you want, you can just say sex now or procreate, and then it just opens the hole, and then in the front you fuck that, and then we harvest your semen and impregnate more women in farms that we've kidnapped for organ harvesting or baby production to create future worker drones who will live the same Alexa filling real human connection lifestyle that you live today, folks. If you don't like it, it's too late. Peter Thiel is already shipping these wife units next month. Pre-order now, guys. Folks, I see a future where we have built the human race up from the ground up. We are going to, listen, we are redefining what it means to be human with all of my rich buddies. It's too hard to save the planet. Above all, I see a future for all, and this is important, all rich Americans. I will always be a president for all wealthy Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the affluent, well-moneyed American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than we are now. So let's build a future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we act together by signing our organ donor cards and denying that we have the cure for cancer. God bless you all, and may God protect our good drones and good Goyim. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, I would get thunderous applause. And I will be the most honest president you've had since Kennedy.